And we're very lucky today to have two community collaborators with us. Virginia Legal Aid Society, Suffolk, Jesse Powell and Gail Trzynski. And we also have the Workforce Development, Suffolk, Susan. I don't want to mess your last name up, but Studenbeck, is that correct? Yeah, all right. All right, well, we greatly appreciate you all being here. We do have quite a bit of the resources that these folks have amongst the community are, you know, the legal and employment resources. They help not only veterans, but they help anybody, community members, and it's one of those things where, especially, you know, the employment side of the house, we're often finding that legal problems and employment are some of the biggest stressors for military members and their families. And if we can find help in any way for military members and their families, that's what we want to do. So on that note, I'm going to hand it over. We've assembled a great team with the Staff Sergeant Arthur Gordon Fox Suicide Prevention Grant Program, and they're already out getting things going. And I'm going to introduce the Operations Manager, Charles Stamper, and he will introduce our speaker today, our training clinical advisor, Dr. Shannon Harris. But here's Charles Stamper, and thank you again for being here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charles Stamper. As Whitney Meter said, I am the operations manager for the Staff Sergeant Gordon Fox Suicide Prevention Grant Program. It is a VA grant awarded to Western Tidewater Community Services Board by the Veterans Affairs. The purpose of this program is to assist veterans, whether they're active duty, guards, reserve, I say facetiously, but even Space Force, no offense if you're out there, and their families when it comes to suicide prevention and awareness. That is not the only thing that this program offers support. And if you have anyone who's interested in educational benefits when it comes to the VA or health benefits when it comes to the VA, our team can help you actually walk through that process when it comes to the administrative purposes of that. We understand it can be kind of daunting, kind of scary. So our specialists actually have some experience when it comes to that, and they can help you with those processes as well. We have peer support specialists. They're great at their job. They're very passionate. We have a job coach who's very passionate as well, a vocational and education specialist, a clinician and training facilitator. We're going to be Dr. Shannon Harris, who will be coming up in a moment. Our team is very willing to help you and very eager and very knowledgeable with all the military background and a lot of shared experience. And if you have any interest in any of these things, or if you have interest in things regarding Western Tidewater Community Services Board or VA benefits, just give us a holler and we'll help you out as best we can. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Shannon Harris.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Shannon Harris. I'm the clinician training facilitator for the program. And what we do here, we do the suicide prevention grant program.
If it's not working, I'll run it.
Okay. Great. And our objective to the program is to try to provide an optimal service to the veterans, the service members, the dependents, and their spouses, so that they can transition from what they've known to what they will know, and that's a fulfillment in life. And what we do here, like Whit was saying, as well as Charles, we have a variety of well-trained staff. We have our job coach. We have our vocational specialists, we have our peer specialists, we have our case managers that can tend to the needs of the participants within our program. We only deal with low-risk suicide participants, but if they need to be linked to any services in the community, we are able to assist you with that as well. Our main purpose is called continuity of care. That means that you can get what you need in one-stop shop. Next slide, please. We have two major factors that we focus on. The first factor is risk factors. The risk factors tell us about the person and what's going on with the person. We're able to identify if it's dealing with vocational, if it's dealing with situational, if it's dealing with relational. So these are some of the factors that we take into account when we do our assessments. These factors can be something as major as a job transition, a marital transformation, a family history, or a mental health disorder. So it also can include just knowing somebody who has passed due to suicide. It can be a contributing factor of a suicidal ideation. That means a thought, not even a plan, but just a thought. Chronic illnesses can bring about these risk factors. Finding out that you have a debilitating disease, going into a new procedure that you may not have knowledge of, not knowing what to do and how to do it. These are some of the risk factors that we encounter that can take us from what we know as normal functioning to high-level stressful areas. And what we try to do here in our program is get you to those protective factors. That is, get you with people, places, and things that can support you. Those supporting factors could be connectedness to your family, your community, friends, social institutions, like education for one. You may not know that you qualify for whatever benefits. That's what our vocational specialist, she'll step in and she'll help you out. Our job coach, you may need some more training. He can help get you linked with different training opportunities, job fairs. Our peer specialists, they can help talk you through whatever you may be going through daily life stressors, as well as family members. We can help you try to get some relational issues taken care of, as well as be able to link you with the appropriate resources. You may need counseling, outpatient therapy. Self-esteem. We all have had issues where we have done some things like, hey, I may be not good enough. This job is not fulfilling. Maybe I'm not working up to my full potential. Dealing with self-esteem issues. This may be one of the things that you're dealing with. So what we try to do is try to encourage you, be that coach, do that one-on-one counseling with you as well. Cultural and religious aspects. See, but what is your higher level of existence? It may not be religious. It may be just spirituality. How to link you in the community with a support group. But there's always different warning signs, and those warning signs come in various different forms. So trauma looks different for everybody. Like I said, our program only deals with low-level risk. But if you're having any thoughts or any feelings or even any plans, you still can reach out to our program and we will link you to the appropriate resources. This is one of our breakout questions. A lot of people think, what could this do for me? If I seek help, would it affect my job? Would it affect how how relationships look for me? Will people perceive me as being, high risk, fragile? Will they not be able to see me the way they used to? So what we will try to do is connect you with the proper channels within the community, within the community service boards, to get you back functioning as normal as possible.
Did you want to actually do a breakout or?
Yeah, we can do a breakout.
Okay.
Here. So I'm gonna turn around because I actually can't see it. Okay, so this is one of our breakout slides. Okay. I can't see the first question.
Yeah, I don't think they,
Okay, how do you define risk? That's one of our breakout questions. How do you define risk?
The severity level of if there's any harm, if they're gonna cause harm to themselves.
Okay,
Is there a plan?
self-harm, a plan in place.
Are they gonna harm others?
Okay, harm some and others. In some of our positions, we're considered as mandated reporters. So we will assess for that. Anybody else have another definition of risk? Okay,
they're actually already going to the breakout room, so, yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, you did? Okay,
great.
okay.
Risk, doing harm to yourself and others. Having a plan. Okay. And what do we normally do? Ask that person, are you okay? You have a few minutes you want to talk. And link them with the appropriate services. Okay, well times. Great. But our ultimate goal is to get that person to the appropriate services as quickly as possible. The next breakout question is, do you think mental support services can help or hinder your ability to function daily?
Could you answer it again, please?
Do you think mental support services can help or hinder your ability to function daily?
It consists, I mean, it can help, like JB said, because it helps you become stable in the community. It can help you get the resources that you need.
Okay.
Overcome any barriers, man.
You say help,
Yeah,
Yeah.
overcome barriers?
yeah.
I'm sorry, just real quick, we are gonna still do breakouts, so we'll discuss this in just a second. But I just want to make sure we get the questions out there and we'll have them do breakout rooms.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And then we'll discuss.
Great. Okay, and the last question, so that everybody who's on the web can catch up as well. Great engagement. Will seeking services interfere with home, work, and school?
So
Sometimes it can.
heading to the breakout rooms again.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Great. I had that question as well. Availability. Sometimes people don't have the flexibility to juggle family, work, school, kids, activities. Great. Sure. Rick?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Are they-
Yeah, well,
are
they should be
engaging?
going to some of them are not going to the breakout rooms.
Okay,
But we can go ahead and discuss these.
okay, right.
And those that are in their breakout rooms, that's fine.
Okay, great. She said sometimes. You want to expound on your sometimes?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry.
Well, I think, a lot of times we have clients at legal aid where folks are struggling, juggling multiple things, like you said. And so their biggest priority might be paying their rent and going to work. And sometimes they might miss other things that I might think is important, like their court hearing. But their priorities are the most important thing for them. And they have to be the ones to determine that. And I imagine that's hard for me as an attorney. And so I imagine providers might have that struggle too with providing mental health support to folks who need it.
Exactly. And I have encountered where the same thing, they need to work, provide shelter, resources for their family, and then they have an appointment. Good thing telehealth is available, right? For appointments, what happens if people, need to take advantage of those telehealth services? So all the appointments are booked, right? Saturday. Some providers have even went to Sunday because of the availability shortages, right? So the second one was, could mental health support services help or hinder your ability? I have heard that it can hinder your ability. Because I've been told people will follow you around trying to help you so much. No, they're trying to empower you, give you those tools, those techniques, coping strategies, trying to teach you how to manage your time, organizational. Sometimes we need to learn how to organize our time, our tasks, our chores. So we won't be so overwhelmed, anxiety with life stressors, right? So with that being said, school. You can go to school online. There's all types of accommodation. You get with the right type of support, they can help link you with the services that you need. Even in a school setting, Western Tidewater, we have school programs, school-based programs. Mental health support for the youth, the adolescent, the adult, the veteran service members and their families. There are supports available. What you may think will hinder you, you will find out will be a great support. Go to the next one.
Ready to close the rooms?
Yep. Thank you, sir. And just a rule of thumb, we need to find out what works for that participant. What works for that participant in their home, in their life, and their schedule.
People also have an issue with transportation and talking about the telehealth, they don't have internet.
Exactly. They run into a lot of barriers. And at one time, one of the major communication cable companies were offering families that had social economic barriers, cable, but it was school related, right?
Yeah.
But that was school related for the children. What about those who need mental and medical health benefits? Is it offered for them as well? I don't know, right? So logistics was an issue. Right. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if only one remembers to turn on the light. This kind of sound like, oh, okay. But if we just find one positive thing every day, that can make a huge difference for somebody who's walking around confused, who's walking around in a state of turmoil, who's walking around unsure, who's walking around in a traumatic state, because trauma looks different from everybody. Trauma looks different for everybody. I could have lost my favorite pen, a sentimental piece that my grandmother gave me. And that was the last thing she gave me. That would have been traumatic to somebody. Trauma looks different for everybody, right? So what was the bright light? Well, what was the bright thing that I could have thought about that time spending with her? You know, those things that we did together, those walks, those talks, knitting, cooking, baking. So if we remember to think of the positive, we can learn that it will outweigh some of those negative thoughts, right? The hypothesis. We know what a hypothesis is. It's what we think is gonna happen, or what we think that it will be, or what we think we want to be the outcome. So suicide prevention is definitely a preventive measure that ensures the individual with suicide risk has access within a reasonable time frame to evidence-based treatment, suicide prevention intervention or strategy, and coordinated community services to support appropriate care. It's services out here. Sometimes we just have to help people get to those services and help them to identify what's needed. Points of contact. The points of contact, we touched on it earlier. The peer specialists. They go out, they support the participants, the veterans, the service members, the family, the dependents. Help talk them through a lot of different things. Help them link themselves within the community to need support. The job coach. And we actually will be hearing from the job coach very shortly. The vocational specialist. Hey, you thought about a new career. The service member transitioning out of the military, looking for a new job. The vocational specialist can help that person find a new occupation, even a new trade. The case manager, she reviews with the participant different steps that they need to take, whether it be mental health, medical health, the different services and the recommendations. And me as the training facilitator, go in and try to update the cases based on the recommendations and a referral process that's needed to get these service people, these members, these veterans to the right and appropriate resources for continuity of care. Next. Finally, we are boots on the ground. So you will be Mr. Sylvester Artist. Sorry, I kind of stumbled a little bit. He's one of our job coaches. He's boots on the ground. So he'll be able to tell you a little bit about what he does as he engages the members.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harris. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sylvester Artist, and I am the job coach for the Sergeant Fox program. Under the title Boots on the Ground, what we do engagement, we do assessment, and we do planning and referrals, and we do follow-up. As part of engagement, we engage through outreach, referrals, and we partner with workforce clients looking for employment and other services. Through engagement, that's what we do. Assessment, we assess veterans' needs and work experience so that we can create the right job for the veteran. With planning, we help the veteran with resume writing, help to dress properly for interviews, interview skills, so that the veterans feel comfortable and confident while being interviewed for the job. Referrals. We get referrals through job fairs, internet searches, and so that we can help match the veterans with their work experience. When it comes to follow-up, we follow up with eligible vets while going through the interview and job placement process. It's like an ongoing job. Once you've met these veterans, establish a relationship with these guys, it feels good when they call you to follow up with you, to let you know how they're making out, and if we need to change anything in their resumes, change their approach for going on an interview, and any other glitches that they may feel that they're not feeling comfortable with. I try to make them feel comfortable, and if they need for me to advocate for them in any kind of way, that's what I'm there for. So that's my job as a job coach for our program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Artist.
You're welcome.
Comparing our program with other programs, we see that there's a lot of preventative programs out there right now. What makes ours so unique? We get in and we do a job that most wouldn't want to do. We spend that time, we do follow-ups, and we do wraparound care. The one thing that I saw that has been a deficient in this market, working with the veterans as well as the service members, you link them with services, but no one does the follow-up to see how they're doing, what's going on. Are they still on the job? Is the family still functioning? Is there any other additional services that's needed? Are they meeting their financial needs monthly? Have they linked back to the Veterans Affairs for medical, mental health appointments? Are the dependents suffering because the parents are going through turmoil or whatever? So what we do here, we do a holistic approach. We're going to touch everything from the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, the financial, as well as every aspect of the service member's life. So that's what makes our program a little different from the others. Next. The assessments, we use an assessment tool. We do a brief screening just to see where the participant may fall for crisis. Like I explained earlier, we only do low level of suicide risk. But if we find that they're moderate or mild or higher level, we refer them to the appropriate services. So we don't leave no veteran or service member, dependent or spouse without care. Next slide. The key takeaways from our program. You always have somebody there. For whatever service member, family member there is, it's always an assigned specialist to them. We try to meet them where they're at. We use the person-centered approach. If the spouse just needs to be able to link the dependent with outpatient within the Veterans Affairs, we'll try to link them with a case manager within that organization. If they just need some additional support, as long as the service member has already given their okay for them to be involved in our program, they can meet with the case manager. She can make the necessary recommendations, and then there's a follow-up that's needed. We link them to the jobs, legal assistance, as well as housing. Next. The program involvement. It's our expectations that every participant that's enrolled in our program fully take advantage of the program. That they take part of the job development if they're coming in for employment resources. They follow up with the job coach, the peer specialist if they need support at the Veterans Affairs for VA benefits, for mental health recovery, case management services, where the case manager reaches out to contact the participant that they would answer the call and answer the questions, honestly, to be able to get that help that's needed. So we ask that every participant that's enrolled in our program be fully involved and invested in the program. Call to action. Prevention is key to resilience. And we thank each and every person and participant for their service, because without them, it would be no us here. And we wouldn't have the freedom that we have in this country. But you have to be resilient. You have to want to be able to take part of your own care, take part of your own, take part of your own development. Say, for instance, you're transitioning from the military to civilian life, and you may not know what to do next. If we assist you with linkages to an employment, we would like for you to follow up with that employer and attend that job interview. Or if you have an appointment and you need to go to, say, for instance, a medical appointment at the Veterans Affairs, we would like for you to follow up with that appointment. Any help that's needed. If you come to us and say that you're having depressive thoughts and we refer you to an outpatient therapist, we would like for you to say, hey, I'm gonna take part in this and I'm gonna follow up with them. Connections to community-based services, housing, therapy, school, jobs. Once we connect you to these things, we're gonna follow up with you, and then we're gonna check back with you and follow up care as well as wraparound care. Self-care. It's always best to take care of self. It's always best to take care of self. If it's take a 5 minutes out of a day to take a step back, read a book, take a walk in the park. We always promote self-care. Here at the Sergeant Fox program, we take what we do seriously, and we take the participants that we work with pride and dignity. So whatever we do, we take every step one day at a time with our participants. They have our numbers, they have the ones that's assigned to them, and they can contact us at any time. If they have any questions, we are always available at their call. They can email us and they can contact us. Like I said, we are at various different locations, at various different bases, at the various different workforces, as well as here at the CSB. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
What's the criteria for your program? Do they have to be honorably discharged or do complete service? They've been kicked out of the service, or do they qualify still? Or?
Yes, they have to have an honorable discharge, and they have to have an honorable discharge.
For the Sergeant Fox program specifically, so there's people, yeah, that's fine.
Thank you all for your time.
Thanks, Dr. Harris.
Thank you, Dr. Just to answer that question specifically, to be qualified for the Sergeant Fox program, discharges are as follows. Now, I'm going to say this, but this is not a limiting factor to receiving services from our program. Okay? So the discharges are any discharge other than dishonorable or dishonorable by court-martial. And it's any general court-martial, thank you. And it can be any branch of service. It can be guard, reserve, and again, any branch of service. Now, the reason I say that is not a stop all, you won't receive services from us program is because we are a CSB and we have another program called Service Member Family and Veterans, or SMVF, which we partner together with Sergeant Fox and SMVF. So if someone does happen to not meet that program requirement regarding their discharge status, we'll still provide the service. We still have peer support specialists and we'll still help them out with whatever it is that they need. So it's really just an administrative thing. It won't stop us from helping them with whatever it is that they need.
Charles, can you monitor the chat real quick? Just to see.
Thanks, Dr. Harris, and thanks, Charles. Also, just to add to that, absolutely, we're looking to help any veteran, regardless of discharge. The Staff Sergeant Fox program does have the discharge qualifications, as Mr. Stanford mentioned. However, we definitely can find other resources, and in fact, our employment service here today, Susan can tell you about second chance opportunities, which helps veterans with, the RE4s and the discharges that aren't so preferable. But really appreciate the great information, and would like to keep things moving along. We're kind of ahead of time right now. If there's any other questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can ask them here. We can discuss right here. If not, we're going to turn it over to Cassie Powell, attorney at the Virginia Legal Aid Society, Suffolk, and her rundown of the Virginia Legal Aid services.
As Wade said, I will definitely need to adjust the mic, fit my short self. Hi, everyone. It's so good to be with you all. Thank you so much, Dr. Harris, and to everyone at the Fox Suicide Prevention Program for the important work that you all do. I also want to thank Whit and everyone at the SMVF team. I wrote that down so I wouldn't mess it up. all those acronyms, but we absolutely love working with Whit and Navi and everyone on the SMVF team. We have a case right now that we're working on that is just a doozy, and we love getting to work with them. And I'm always impressed with the care and compassion that they have for the folks that they work with. So really appreciate being able to be here with you all. Thank you so much to the veterans and their family members for their service and their sacrifice. I am just always grateful for to see the folks who serve our country. And we have some colleagues in our office who are family members of veterans, and so it's just really brought home to me the amazing sacrifice that service members and their families bring in. So thank you all so much, and we love getting to be here. So thank you for letting us participate.
Thank you.
So again, my name is Cassie Powell. I am the managing attorney at Virginia Legal Aid Society Suffolk office. I will tell you lots more about what that means and what we do. But I also want to introduce Gail Krasinski. She is our housing and community navigator, which means she does our outreach. So she is part of the reason that we are here today, that we've made great relationships with Susan at Workforce Development and Whit at CSB, and so many other great partnerships. So really thank Gail for the work that she does. So I'm going to try to flip through this and talk into the mic, but certainly if anyone can't hear me online, please put it in the chat and Whit will let me know. So, Whit, you'll do the slide thing? Okay, thank you. So first I'm going to go over just an overview of VLAS legal aid and what we do, how someone can be eligible for our services, the types of cases, some new things that we've been working on lately. I'll talk about some tips for common legal problems. So some things that, whether you're a veteran or not, some things that you might run into in your work, or if you're a provider, or just someone out in the community, some things that you might run into. I'll also talk briefly about wills and powers of attorney. It's a massive topic, but just touch on a couple of things since it seems like something that a lot of veterans are interested in and want to know more about. And finally, I'll end with just questions and our contact information. The last slide has my phone number for my direct line, and also my email, and also Gail's contact information. If you leave with nothing else, I encourage you to reach out to me. We see ourselves as resources for legal information in the community. And so if you are working with someone who needs assistance, if you're not sure if we can do that, we welcome those conversations. A lot of times we may not be able to help, but we can try to provide you any information that we can about the situation that you're facing. So please contact me. We always want to try to help. Okay, so we can go to the next slide. So what do we do? Legal aid. We provide free civil legal assistance to folks with limited incomes. So you do have to be eligible. You have to have a certain income limit, which I'll talk about. But we're free. We don't charge anything for our services, and we don't do criminal law. So if you're coming to me with your traffic ticket or something else, that's not what we do. But we do a variety of civil legal issues, and again, we are free. We do not charge anything. We get that question a lot, and folks tend to be like, amazed, but we don't charge anything. Good stuff. So the types of cases that we handle. We do a variety of different civil legal issues. We do housing cases, so a lot of times that looks like evictions. We do a lot of eviction defense. It's landlord-tenant laws are one of our biggest areas. We have several attorneys working on that. We do public benefits. We don't do VA benefits. It's something I actually was talking to Navi about this morning, and something that I would love for us to be able to do more of. But we don't currently do that. But we do a variety of other types of public benefits. So if anyone is having issues with their SNAP, their TANF, anything like that, we can assist with that. We also do Medicaid, Medicare. Anyone's having any issues with those, they're being denied Medicaid coverage or something like that, we can assist with all of that. So folks who maybe aren't in the veterans program, but other service providers, just flagging that as something that we can do. We also do protective orders. We only represent folks who are seeking a protective order, but we do protective orders, and we provide lots of information on those if folks need it. We do education. So if someone is, particularly children who are facing special education needs or school discipline hearings, we do those. So if you have someone who has those needs, that's actually my area. I love it. We also do advanced directives. So if someone needs, again, power of attorney, will, advanced medical directive, we do all of those. And we also do consumer cases. So we fight with banks, which we will be doing some of, in this case of WIT, and the client we're working with. So a lot of folks ask me, well, you know, I've heard of legal aid, and you know, there's, do you serve this, you know, this particular area? There are actually 11 legal aids across the state of Virginia. We know each other, we talk to each other, but we are different organizations. We are separate nonprofits. And so the Virginia Legal Aid Society, we are one of those 11. We serve South Central Virginia. We actually have the biggest land area of any of the legal aids in the state. And our particular Suffolk office serves 7 cities and counties in the eastern part of that service area. So we serve Suffolk, Isle of Wight, Southampton, Franklin, Greensville, Emporia, and Sussex. So we have a limited amount of resources and a lot of area to cover. Yeah, basically. So who is eligible? So again, we do provide free services on civil legal issues, but folks do have to meet a certain amount of eligibility requirements. We have some citizenship requirements. I urge folks to still contact us even if they are not citizens or if they are undocumented. There are some exceptions that we can make in particular types of cases, particularly domestic violence cases. So always urge people to contact us if you aren't sure if we can serve somebody. We also have some income eligibility requirements. Folks have to be under 125% of the federal poverty guidelines. We can also go up to 200% if someone has a valid some sort of deduction that we can make. And folks usually have that. We can count housing payments, we can count child support, child care payments. There's usually some deduction that we can make to get folks up to that 200%. So a lot of times we can serve people who are 200% and below. And again, I always urge people to contact us regardless of whether you think they're going to be eligible or whether you think you are eligible, you know, if it's you, if it's someone there. Just because we sometimes have other grants that we can use to support folks. For example, sometimes we have grants to be able to support seniors regardless of income at certain times of the year. So always call us if you aren't sure. We do everything we can within our guidelines to ensure that everyone who needs our help who is eligible gets it. Yeah. So as Gil pointed out to me, this is the 2022 eligibility chart, and the 2023 one has now come out just in the past. Recently, we received it and saw it, and so these numbers are not correct. But just so you have an idea from the 2022 guidelines, and of course, again, I strongly urge people not to just look at these because there's often some things that folks might be missing. Please have folks call us anyway to see if they're eligible, if they need legal assistance. We always want to try, again, to do everything we can to help them if they are eligible. And sometimes there's some ways of calculating that we can try to get folks in.
Inflation may have sent those numbers up too, the CPI.
Yeah, they are up. So don't just look at these. So call them. Okay, so you have someone, you're working with someone, or maybe you are someone who is like, well, I'm having an issue with my landlord, or I have something that I think legal aid can assist with, or I want to send someone to you. What is the best way for them to reach out to us? The best way is through our intake line, law line. And I'm going to have the number for our law line on our last slide, so that you can, or the second to last slide, so that you can see that and copy it down. The best way to reach us is always through our intake line. And our intake line is a group of 7 paralegals and a supervising attorney and a managing attorney who is monitoring the phone lines and talking to folks and giving advice about legal issues. So typically when folks call us, they may just receive advice. A lot of times, because we have limited resources, and so a lot of times folks may not necessarily get to the local office, we may be off intake. So folks receive advice from law line. They're receiving advice about their case. Sometimes law line will review documents, try to get them the information that they need, which is still valuable. We can talk to them through, we can try to get them legal information. If we are on intake, or if it's a particularly urgent case, law line will flag it and send it to me. I review all of the intakes that come in, and I assign it to the attorneys in our office. I will let folks know that something, I know this process means that sometimes we will miss people with really urgent needs. So I always tell partners and providers, if you have a situation that you think is urgent, that you want me to see, I really encourage folks to send it to me. It doesn't mean that we can help, but it means that I will at least see it and be able to evaluate it. And I always encourage everyone to do that. So generally tell folks to call online, but if it's something like this is an urgent thing, they're about to be evicted, I think you can help, please, contact me, and that might be something that we can assist with, rather than sending through this process where they may just receive advice and it might not be something that I see. I always want everybody to try to reach out to me. If we can try to help at all, we certainly will. But yeah, just noting, the really limited resources and high need. Each year, about 55% of low-income households in Virginia face at least one legal problem, but only about 17% of those actually receive assistance from an attorney. And most of that is because of really limited resources, but also people not realizing that legal aid is available. And so that's my ask of you all, is if you have someone who has something that's a legal issue that they're experiencing, please make sure that they know about legal aid, that they can call us. We really do want to hear from folks and try to get them that information as much as we can. And certainly do everything we can within our limited resources to get that out. I also wanted to flag a couple new things that we're doing that is really exciting in our office, that we are really excited about. The biggest is our courthouse eviction clinics. So this is something that our Director of Advocacy, Amy Geisel-Ullman, started during the pandemic. We saw this surge of evictions happening during the pandemic, and lots of protections being in place. Under the law, there was a rent relief program that folks may have known about, but a lot of folks weren't aware of those, but they were confused about the rent relief program. And so this actually is a program that started during the pandemic, thanks to her ingenuity and creativity. And so Amy, started going to the courthouse, thankfully we have wonderful courthouse staff and judges who are very supportive of this project, and local funders like the OBC Foundation. And so we now are at the Suffolk courthouse every single time they have an eviction docket, for their uncontested eviction docket on Wednesdays. So even if someone doesn't know to call us, we are there in the courthouse when they are having their eviction case. If it's on the uncontested Wednesday docket, we will be there and can answer questions and provide them information. Sometimes we will jump in and represent. I will say that's rare. We at that point, most of what we're doing is trying to get them information, trying to do everything that we can to prevent it if possible. If there's a defense, we may jump in. And so we do an eligibility screening right in the courthouse and potentially, jump in, and we have done that. So that's something that has been remarkably successful. We are so excited, and we've actually expanded to Isle of Wight, Southampton, and Franklin in the past couple of months. We received some additional funding, actually from the city of Suffolk, to be able to do that. And so it's been just amazing to be able to expand our courthouse clinics. Oh, and I would be remiss in not mentioning that we also received funding for our outreach position, which is Gail Trzynski, who's with us now, and also has been just an amazing resource and support in getting the word out and more legal information in our community. So, let me stop there and see if there are any questions. I know we'll do it towards the end, but just wanted to stop and check. Okay.
They can put it in the chat too.
Yeah. And folks, definitely should put it in the chat, and happy to answer any of
Or
those.
monitor.
So, legal tips for common problems. So I just wanted to go over some situations. A lot of folks hear civil legal issues and they're like, what is that? I don't really know what that means. So trying to point out some specific hypotheticals of situations, and also to test your legal knowledge about some things. And so I'll ask you some questions and ask you what you think. Some of the biggest misconceptions that we see in the community. And so, Rick, if you could, and actually I'm not going to ask that one. If you could go to the next one, that would be great.
Sure.
Okay, so this is a question that we get all the time. So if someone does not pay their rent, can the landlord lock them out or cut off their utilities? So if someone doesn't pay their rent, they don't pay it, they have a lease agreement that says, yes, you have to pay your rent, you have to pay $800 a month, and they don't do it, and then the landlord goes and locks the door and turns off their utilities and says, you can't get back in until you pay me my money. Is that legal or not? Yes or no?
No, no.
No. Okay, so most people are like, no, yay, that's great. I love that people know this. So we could go to the next slide. Yes, yay. Okay, so I'm really glad that people know that because it's actually something that happens way more than we would like. And it's obviously something that's very traumatic for folks who are in that situation. They absolutely have an opportunity to hear that. The landlord must give them a 5-day notice. The landlord has to give them that 5 days to pay. Then the landlord has to go to court, actually get an order of eviction, wait 10 days for them to appeal, and then they can proceed with the eviction if the court granted it. So there's multiple steps in that process before a landlord can actually lock someone out. Very particular, very formal, and there's actually pretty significant consequences now for landlords who don't follow that process and actually lock someone out. So we see these cases a lot and certainly want to make sure that landlords are following them. Yeah.
Does this also account for people who are don't have an official lease, but it's some sort of verbal agreement where they pay the max amount of money a month? Does the same thing count for that as well?
Yeah, so the law actually anticipates that. There is if you have just an oral lease, but you're paying rent and it's clearly defined as a tenancy under the law, everyone looks at it and say, yeah, this is a tenant, he's a landlord or she's a landlord or whatever, then there's actually a lease in the code that says this is the lease terms that apply in that situation. So there are there's actually a lease that that person will follow, and that's absolutely a lease, and they are entitled to the same protections. Yeah.
So if you run a room at a boarding house, say by the week, same thing applies.
Yeah, they have to have the week notice. So the Virginia Landlord Tenant Act actually anticipates a weekly lease. So week by week. I would certainly, as a tenant advocate, say yes, absolutely. But that may be for a judge to decide, but I would certainly argue yes. All right, so this is another one that I get all the time, and I would love for people to have the right information in our community about this question. So true or false, if my landlord is not making repairs I've asked him to, I can stop paying my rent until he fixes them. So, okay, so false, yeah. Everyone's like, false. Yes, it's false. Yeah, thank you. Maybe you wouldn't be surprised, but I am always surprised at how much I hear this from our clients. And they have very valid repairs concerns. I mean, they have health and safety issues. There's various things that are happening in the place that they are living that are very valid, that the landlord should fix them, pursuant to the lease and the law. But the solution to that is not to withhold the rent. The solution to that is there's some other things in the law that they can do, but they absolutely should continue paying their rent, because if they don't, then they won't be able to resolve those issues, because those issues require you to be up to date on the rent in order to resolve them, and their landlord can then evict them for non-payment of rent. So it really does hurt the tenant to do that. So there are a couple things that tenants can do. The main thing is filing a tenant's assertion in court, where you pay your rent into the court and tell the court, hey, my landlord needs to make those repairs. The other thing you can do is something called prepare and deduct. There's some where you give your landlord notice, and then you say, I'm planning on fixing this, and if you don't fix it, I'm gonna take this amount out of my rent to fix it. You have to give notice for that. You have to follow a certain procedure. If you have a client in that situation where they, are thinking about trying to do repairs, and even if you don't think they're eligible, you should contact us first, and I'm happy to walk you through what they should do, because some of that gets a little wonky, and there's some specific things in the notice requirements. And so I definitely urge folks to reach out to me, or us in our office if you need help with that, or you have someone who needs help with that, because it is. I wouldn't want to steer you astray, but there are some things that folks should do in that situation. Okay. This is actually something new. This is, within the past couple of years, something that well, I don't want to give away. If my landlord goes to court and gets a judgment in possession in an eviction case, is there any way that that person can still stay in their home? So say they went to court, the judge said, nope, you're evicted. Is there anything that they can do to still stay there? Okay, so we got a yes and a no.
It's got a-
Okay, this is something that we are actually really excited about. Yes, yeah, we can go for it. So yes, if the reason for the eviction was non-payment of rent. This is a new law that's passed in the past few years, actually. It used to be that if you didn't pay your rent, then your landlord, you could pay everything that you owed, the whole amount, the whole judgment amount, and that landlord could still move forward with the eviction so long as they gave you this notice that says, I reserve my right to evict you, or, some sort of reservation notice. That is no longer the case. Now, if you pay everything that you owe at least 48 hours before the scheduled eviction, and the only reason for the eviction was non-payment of rent, so if it's termination of lease or lease violation, something like that, this doesn't count. So if you were evicted for some other reason, then not this. But if the only reason that that person was evicted was non-payment of rent, they can pay everything they owe 48 hours before the scheduled eviction and stay in their home. So a lot of landlords don't know this, but certainly something that we have been pushing. We are very excited about that. I will just note that a lot of folks think that they just have to pay their rent and their late fees. They actually have to pay court costs and attorney's fees. So if the judge awarded attorney's fees and court costs for their landlord's attorney, in that case, they have to pay everything. And it doesn't count unless they pay every single bit. So just flagging that, that folks should absolutely make sure that they have the right judgment amount to exercise that right of redemption. But certainly something that we are excited about as it's benefiting a lot of our tenants. Okay, one more housing tip, always go to court. This is me being an attorney and a lot of folks, and this is reminding me of Dr. Harris's question about, is it sometimes a hindrance to go through the supports and services that we think. I always encourage everyone to go to court because sometimes you might be able to get a more beneficial result. I have a lot of clients who are like, I can't go to court because I'm working to get the money to redeem. And that is a very valid, that's a very valid thing to note and to say. And so we certainly do our best with the, with what we've got. But my general recommendation is to always go to court. And the date and time for the court hearing is going to be in the top left-hand corner of the summons, or the top right-hand corner of the summons. I'm exposing my limitations to that. But it's in the top right-hand corner of the summons. Okay, so switching away from housing, just to give you all a little bit of an idea of what else we do. So if someone has Medicaid coverage and it doesn't cover the cost of something that they need, so their doctor says, hey, I need this, you need this thing, you absolutely have to have it. And then Medicaid's like, nah, I don't think you need that. Do you have any option? Does that person have anything that they can do at that point?
I'll say yes, because it would be a question.
Okay, yes, Cheryl said yes. Yes, you have the right to appeal Medicaid coverage denials. There's lots of specific rules about what Medicaid can, should cover. And so this is something that we assist with, and it's something I'm really passionate about, making sure that Medicaid's covering what it should. And so just making sure that folks follow the appeal rights in their notices and contacting us if you need help with that. Okay. Couple more. So if someone gets an overpayment from Social Security, we have a lot of clients who receive Social Security. Is that something, if they get an overpayment, so Social Security is like, I paid you too much and you got to give it back. Do they have to pay that back right away? Or soon?
Yes, you gotta pay it back.
Okay,
Get back right away.
there's lots of answers. Okay, good question then. Okay. All right. No, they don't have to pay it back right away, but there are some significant deadlines. So that's like with a big caveat of you should always look at your notices and talk to an attorney and all of that stuff. I'm not telling you to ignore the notice. But no, there are some options for folks that they can do to avoid having to pay that back. We have clients who come in that say, you know, Social Security overpaid me $17,000 and I got a bill from them for $17,000. I can't do this. And so what we do is we assist them in filing appeals. We assist them in filing requests for waivers. There are lots of options that folks can do to try to make sure that they don't have to pay that. There's usually some pretty important deadlines in those. There's appeal deadlines. I'll note that the waiver deadlines are different. Usually you can file a waiver request in any time. And so if someone has started paying back their overpayment, sometimes they can file a request for the waiver later, even if the appeal deadline is passed. Keep a copy of everything you file, just in case Social Security loses it. Sometimes they do. And if the waiver is denied, you can ask for a lower payment amount. So I've heard Social Security, you know, going as low as $10 a month. So there's certainly other options for folks. Okay, this is my area. If my child is struggling a lot in school, what are my options? We do a lot of education cases. And a lot of folks may not know this, but one of the things that folks can do is to ask that their child be evaluated for special education services. So if you have a child who you think might have some issues, might be having might have a disability, is struggling in school and you don't know why, having them evaluated for special education services is always an option. That's also something that we can provide more information about if anyone needs it.
Yes. Is that also the case if your child is in private school and you think there's something that in public schools still have to assess if you have something?
So the rights of children with disabilities in private school who are parenterally placed, meaning that the parent is opting to place them there as opposed to enrolling them in public school, is very different from students who are enrolled in public school. There are still obligations of the school division. The school division still has to an obligation to do the child find, so they have to identify and evaluate kids with disabilities. They don't have to provide them the same special education protections though. They do have to provide some services, but those services are very different. Okay. So I'm gonna skim over this a little faster, but this is a question that we get a lot, particularly in our work with veterans, and so just wanted to touch on this in particular. Actually, this is something that I think everyone could know more about, and certainly something that affects us all. And so, just a couple of tips about wills, power of attorney, and advanced medical directives. I encourage, of course I do, because I'm an attorney, but I encourage everybody to have a will. And the reason is not so much, you know, even if you don't have a lot of assets, you don't have a lot of things, it's a really important way for your family to know what you want if something were to suddenly happen to you. It diffuses any kind of family conflict that might happen later with your children, your siblings, your spouse, or anything. And so it just helps you articulate, when you still have a voice to do so, what you want after you die. And so it's an important opportunity for you to be able to do that. So I encourage everybody to get one. I will just note that I encourage everyone to get an attorney to do your will. This is something that we can do at legal aid if folks are eligible. If you have someone, that's something that we can do. We actually have some pro bono support to be able to do that. We have local private attorneys who are willing to do simple wills for our clients, and that's something that you know, we are certainly welcome to getting referrals for that.
Yeah, we actually had a couple of questions that people that were wanting to see more on wills in our chat there also.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, this is maybe not sufficient for what they need. So certainly if anyone needs anything more, happy to get that for them. A will, I won't go into this too much, just looking at time, but there's a lot that, there's obviously many things that can go into a will. I will just note, there's lots of rules about disinheriting your spouses. So if you want to leave everything to your children and not your spouse, I would just be wary of that, because there's some rules about that. But you can disinherit your kids, so you can tell them that. But you cannot disinherit your spouse. There's wonky rules about that, but I will just note that. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so does an attorney have to make my will? No, but as an attorney, I'm gonna tell you, you should probably get an attorney to make one. I will just note that wills do have to be signed by the person who's making it. So if you type up your will and then you print it out and you sign it, that's not sufficient. Wills need to be witnessed by 2 people. So if you type up your will, print it, and then sign it, that's at least sufficient in terms of the signatures. I don't know if the rest of it will be sufficient, but at least it's sufficient in terms of the signatures. If you don't have anybody who can witness it, and you really feel like you need one right away, you can handwrite it, and as long as it's in your handwriting, you actually don't need it to be notarized or witnessed. That's going to be a valid will, again, at least in terms of the sufficiency of the document itself. So just flag on that.
Now, is that handwriting in cursive?
No, it can be, as long as it's recognizably your handwriting. It's okay.
Right, wow, okay.
So if it's my handwriting, no one will be able to read it. It won't be a good one, but. So, I won't talk about powers of attorney and advanced medical directives too much, but just flagging that, again, I think these are really important documents for folks to have, but it's really important to make sure that anyone who we're giving power of attorney to, that you trust completely, because it does give them pretty broad powers to be able to make decisions on your behalf. If you have it done by an attorney, the attorney can put in there particular things that you want or don't want. You can limit certain powers of your agent in the power of attorney, and these do have to be notarized.
These are often critical for military families because of the separation they go through, needing to be able to act on the deployed spouse's behalf.
Yeah, so Whit, just for folks on the virtual, Whit just mentioned that that's particularly important for service members because family members are often having to act on behalf of the service member, or maybe on a ship or something, and so that's certainly very important. And again, that's something that potentially folks who are in the service, they may be able to get legal assistance through service to do it, but if it's someone who can't for some reason, if it's easier and potentially you're eligible, you're welcome to send it to us. Advanced medical directives. So this is something that I think is really important. It's just so important because a lot of times people don't anticipate the worst, and unfortunately the worst often happens. And so a lot of our job, I know Dr. Harris was talking about risk. I'm always thinking about legal risk, and so I'm always thinking about what is the worst thing that can happen in any given moment. It's quite depressing, actually. And so we anticipate that. And one of the ways that you can anticipate that and be as prepared as possible, and again, diffuse conflict among your family, is to have an advanced medical directive and say exactly what you want in a particular situation. So if you have an advanced directive that says, no, I want the do not resuscitate, or I don't want life support, or I do, just being able to articulate that and lay it out, it makes it much better for your family members as they're struggling with those decisions. So encourage folks to get those, or at least have a conversation with your family members about what you want to happen. Okay, so just a couple more things that we do. Am I over time with?
You got 10 minutes.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So just a couple more things that we do. Again, we do protective orders. So if anyone is facing domestic violence, we do protective orders. We also can do some custody cases if it's related to domestic violence. We do, again, education law. We also do consumer law. It's something that we don't do a ton of, but we have some folks on our team who absolutely love consumer cases. So when I say consumer, I mean like payday loans, card title loans, things like that, credit card issues. Those are things that we can assist with. We also, I get periodically folks who have never had a birth certificate. Maybe they were born at home, particularly in the really rural areas that we serve. That's actually something you have to file in circuit court to get your birth certificate if you've never had one. And so that's something that we can assist with as well. We can also assist with guardianship. I did just want to mention that if you have someone who needs, say they do not have capacity to do a power of attorney, they have debilitated for whatever reason to a point where they no longer have the capacity to be able to say, to sign that and understand what they're signing, they may potentially need a guardianship. And so we assist folks in filing those in our office. So we go to circuit court and assist folks in filing those. Okay, so I mentioned at the beginning, our intake line. This is the number for our intake line. We are open Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays between 9 and 3:30. We are not open, our intake line is not open on Wednesdays. That's the day they do a lot of callbacks and things. And so really just encourage folks to call us. A couple things that I will note about call line. If someone calls and they say, I want a callback, they're going to get a callback from a 434 number. So sometimes people are like, what is this person calling? So just so you can help your clients anticipate what's going to happen. Sometimes they may have to wait in line for a while. We regret this, but it's unfortunately something that folks may need to do. Encourage them to stay on or to do the callback option if they can, and just be ready to answer the phone in the next couple of days. We do try folks a couple of times, but then close the callback and then ask them to call us back. Okay, and you can also apply for services online. We don't have a lot of folks who do that, but that option is certainly there. Thank you, Whit. Yeah, thank you so much for doing the slides for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I do actually, this is my second to last, and I just wanted to note too, we really love doing this. We love being out in the community and talking with partners and providers and community members about the work that we do. We really do want to be, again, a resource for legal information in our community. And so if you have someone who needs help, if you want to know more about a legal issue that we do, I encourage you to reach out to us. We really do want to do everything that we can. So on the next slide is actually my direct number and my email, and Gail Trzynski, our community navigator's number and email. Again, I do encourage folks to reach out to us. We always love hearing from folks. If you have any feedback about anything in our presentation, if there's anything that you wish we could have heard more about, or you want to know more about anything we could have done better, I'm always eager to hear that as well. So thank you all again so much for the work that you do. Again, thank you, Whit, for coordinating this and putting this together. We are very excited and pleased to be here. And just flagging that Susan is just absolutely wonderful, and I'm so impressed with the work that she's doing at workforce development, and I know that you all will get some great information hearing from her. So I'm happy to answer any questions that folks have.
They can put it in the chat too. I'm watching.
Great.
How do we think of disability? Helping people out.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you mean like Social Security disability? Yeah. So that's actually a huge part of our caseload. We assist people in filing for Social Security disability, and that's definitely something we assist with.
That works.
We don't do that work. Yeah, so not, so Cheryl asked if we do work disability. We don't do anything too much with workers' comp or employment law issues. What we do is we do unemployment assistance. So folks need help with their unemployment application through the MORAS, that is the Virginia Employment Commission's unemployment system. We do assist with that. I will note that we are absolutely deluged with those cases, and so usually folks just get advice, unfortunately, unless it's a really bad one, and then we will try to take it. Anything else? Yeah, Gail.
Just that we have brochures and legal information on the back table here. Also community resources, if anybody wants them.
Yeah, so Gail just mentioned wonderfully that she compiled a bunch of brochures and resources for folks, and definitely urge folks to get them. If you are on the screen, if there's any particular thing that you are interested in learning more about, please email us, and we are happy to send you resources. If there's an issue that you have that you're facing or that your client is facing, we're more than happy to send you some additional information. Thank you all so much again. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Cassie, Gil. Appreciate the great info. And I just wanted to kind of chime in also. She was talking about they were out with our peer support specialist this morning working on the case, and the long arm of the law was extending down to another state to try to help out a veteran client here to try and get a bank situation. We have a disabled vet that our peer support specialists have been working with, and Virginia Legal Aid has been in there every chance they get to help them out. We're finally about to unravel the mysteries of, of this gentleman's issues. So we appreciate all your help. It's been a long road, and our peer support specialist, thanks to you guys. Bringing up Susan from the Workforce Development in Suffolk, another great partner. All of these folks, legal and job employments, a lot of time, a lot of good stress, stress reducer. So no further ado, Susan, come on up.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. I'd like to share with you, thank you for your service, because I know that you have given so much, as well as your families have given so much to our country, and we owe a lot to you all. So whatever little bit we can do to help you is amazing. So sorry, apologies.
No, that's all right.
I'm so
Whatever
used to
works.
moving around. I'm an instructor in addition to the workforce development coordinator, so I'm a mover. So this is going to be a challenge for me to stay still. So please forgive me. So I first want to tell Whit, thank you so much, and CSB for all that you've done. I love working with Legal Aid and the CSB family because these people are real. It's very, very rare that you get to work with people that you can feel it in everything they do. They take you on and you go into their heart, and we really want to see the best from you guys. So without further ado, I'm going to tell you about Suffolk Workforce Development Center. So we started in 2006, a long time ago, and that first month we served 130 clients. So when I first put this PowerPoint together, we had been serving 853 clients a month. We just hit 1,000 today a month, so that makes me very happy. People we've seen through the center. Our focus is veterans, job seekers, community patrons, and our business partners, because together we serve you all. So at the core of what we do is to be focused for you. That's why we're here. If we're not helping you, then it's not a good day. We don't get success unless you get success. So how do we do that? We help you through career development. Next slide. Through career development, skills and assessments, job matching, hiring event and networking events, and employee and business development. Next slide. So this is a world of all the people in our agency. We currently have 53 in-house partners that rotate throughout the month. And on the other side, it'll show you exactly when they come. And then we have about 29 partners that are outside of the agency that we can call on to assist you guys. Okay, next slide, please. So if you are a business that's listening to this presentation, how can we help you? We want to recruit for you. We want to do some pre-screening for you. We can provide some coaching to your employees. We can do demand-driven industry training and educational opportunities, as well as credentialing and testing. At the Workforce Development Center, we offer several different kinds of credentials as well. And just as a caveat, anything we do at Suffolk Workforce Development Center is completely free. We charge for nothing. So please come in, please get services. Next slide, please. So what do we have? We're going to invite you in. You want to know what we have, right? We have 9,300 square feet of area for you. We have customized training rooms, 4 computer labs. We have a virtual connectivity suite that you can, because I know we live out in Suffolk, and we not just help Suffolk, we help anybody who comes in the center. You can be from anywhere. But if you do live in a rural community, internet can be problematic, right? So we have several computers that allow you to do Zoom, Google Meet, things like that. You can do those pre-screening interviews with people. We also offer translation services. We have 2 staff members on site that can do ASL or Spanish, because as we know, the populations are growing in our areas. And we also have provide Texas Relay System for our LEP or Limited English Proficiency customers coming to clients, as well as various other things. We're located downtown. You cannot miss us. We're the only ramp on Main Street. And we have ADA and equal opportunity. We just passed an ADA review, and we're going through our equal opportunity review. They're coming tomorrow. We have purchased so many amenities for you all. There are screen readers. I know that several of our service members have come through, and they may have, because of the jobs that you've held in the service, you may have something that's undiagnosed, something as simple as eye tuning. And what that is, let's say you were a gunner's mate or somebody like that, or on some of those other jobs, they're like on those machineries that vibrate you, your eyes don't focus like they used to when you were younger. So that when you look at your words, you may not mean to miss a word or mispronounce it, or you may not mean to not focus, but we have things and devices at our organization that can help you. We have line readers, we have an OCR, which is a pen that you will take across your text. We have text to speech features. We have lots of things for you. Come see us, let us help you. Okay, next slide, please. So we also provide customized hiring events. We try to have at least 2 a month. We have weekly job postings. We work with Virginia Workforce Connection. So every week we get an email of every job in the 7x7. We have a job board in our computer lab. We also have a huge binder right in that computer lab that you go through and do 7x7. We work with Virginia CareerWorks and the Virginia Workforce Connection website, which lists everything. We also have one-on-one staff assistance, because it may have been a while since you've done those resume pieces, or it may have been a while since you've interviewed. And let's face it, military interviewing is one way. Now it's different, right? There's some different things, there's some different verbiage and things that you may need help with. We also do pre-screening, so you don't waste your time going on an interview that you don't want, and the employer doesn't miss that time. We also have training available. I'm not sure if you've heard of some of the resources called G3. There's a G3 funding that will help you pay for your education. There's HR Strong. There's just several opportunities for free education for you. And so let's say your family member, you may pass this GI benefits on to a family member. There is additional funding for you as well. Okay. So, and next slide, please. These are some of the business partners that we work with for hiring events. And next slide, please. So far, I've only been at the center for 7 months. These are some of our more recent employers who've come through. We have Vortex Staffing that hires for planners 2 times a week on site. He literally will do your application, do your drug test, and do your interview, and you'll start your job on Monday, if all goes well. We have Autumn Care, Canon Computer Systems, Goodwill, H&R Block, HRSD. HRSD is really good for our veterans, and they take your transferable skills and put them into the workforce. Lake Prince Wood, Life and Home Care, Military Sea Lift Command, Murphy's Absolute Home Care, Napa, People Share, Primera Staffing, Raw Stress Relief, Manpower Remedy, Labor Ready, Tidewater Staffing, Top Guard Security, and they do unarmed and armed, and Target Warehouse. So this is just a smidgen of what we can provide. So in Suffolk, we have 9,246 citizens in the area. Out of that, 21,000 looking for jobs. Next slide, please. And this is a snippet of what our localities are looking at. There are tons of people looking for jobs. Equally, there's tons of businesses looking to employ you, and that's part of what we want to do. We want to link the 2 of you. This is all information from the Virginia Workforce Connection. Next, please. So as a veteran, can you go back one second, Mr. Rich?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Bounce one on me.
It's okay. There you go. So as a veteran, and I didn't share, I'm the wife of a gentleman who's a Navy. So y'all are near and dear, military service members are near and dear to my heart. We want to have something available to you every day of the week. So if you walk in the center, we're there for you. You can have something. We have Virginia Career Works, it's Monday to Tuesday. We have DARS, it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We have the WTCSB. There Tuesday and Thursday. And I will tell you, that's this team, the Sergeant J. Fox team. If you call them and that's not a normal day that they're there, I've called Mr. Artist. He will pop up there and help his people because he cares. He is on the ball. I understand. I don't want to forget you either. We have a veteran service representative that's there on Tuesday, and then we have the Virginia Department of Veteran Services, which is there on Thursday, and we have a brand new partner starting in April. She's from the Hampton, the Naval Hospital in Hampton. She's coming, she's a veteran service rep. She's coming to help those veterans who may have a percentage of limitations, the name is escaping me now. Like, my husband is 70% disabled and he's trying to increase his rate, and I cannot remember what. Claim rep. She will come and help you work on your claims to see if you can increase your percentage so that you can maybe reach that 100%. Because if you're 100% disabled, we all know that plenty of good benefits for that, right? So we also have AARP, we have Suffolk Literacy Council, we have the Virginia Cooperative Extension, and we have the Virginia Employment Commission comes on the second Thursday, so VEC comes on the second Thursday. Outside of the agency, we have business partners that will come in as needed, and that's Canton Community College, Hampton University, the Department of Social Services, British Cat Ministries, AARP Tax Aid, and actually, truthfully, AARP Tax Aid is there now. It will do anybody's taxes for free, regardless of age or income limit. Come in on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday between 10 and 4, and you get your taxes done for free. The Choice Group, Coalition Against Poverty, because we know sometimes there's limitations to housing and maybe some barriers that you need help with, that they're there to help with that. Opportunities for Change, that is Mr. Ed, and he provides 70 programs that you can take through our center that gives you credentials and resume builders. Every Monday, we have a basic computer class, and starting next month, every other Friday, we're going to offer computer classes, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, 365. Everything we do is free. So if you need to just brush up on skills, stop. That's what we're there for. If you have something that you may need some training in, and go, hey, Miss Susan, can you maybe offer this? Oh, the answer is yes. I just got to figure out a way, because we're going to do it for free. All right. So we provide Bright Choices. Now, Bright Choices, I'm not sure how many people have heard of that organization. If you have any kind of disability, Bright Choices works with our employers and tries to navigate for you. For example, some of our military members have stood on board ship. So standing, doing cashier work is challenging, right? And then they want you to go and like pack a target on the center floor. Or you may have to work the cashier at food line. And these are just some jobs, not saying that this is the only job, but you're on those floors. They can get you the mats that you can stand on and help ease the pain in your legs. You may be doing office work, and they can get you the seat. I don't even know what the specific name of it, but the curved seat pieces that can go back behind your back. That is something that they can help provide for you. You can advocate for those employers to get the things that you need. Okay, next slide, please. So, one more slide, please. So, when my veterans come in, they start asking questions. These are some of the most frequently asked questions. Number one, are there any second chance employees? Yes, because I have yet to meet one person in this entire world that does not have this and stuff, right? We've all been through some things. I have 80 employers that provide employment to people who may have had some barriers previously and want to overcome those obstacles, okay? Can you help me if I have RE4, which is a re-enlistment eligibility code? Yes. We can even help you try to submit a application for review of discharge which is a DD 293. I had to write that name down because there's so many DD 2s that I had to write that down, make sure I said the right one. Is there hope for me for a good job if I have a general or under honorable discharge? Absolutely. Can I make good money with a dishonorable discharge? Absolutely. Can you help me get my joint service transcript and my SMART transcript? Yes. I can even review your SMART transcript and tell you how your credits will go into education and stand for classes at an educational institution. That's what I used in Malta. So can you tell me how many college credits I can get for my service? Yes. How can I get another copy of my DD 14? Will help you do that. Can I get financial aid if my kids use my GL bill? Yes. Are there resources available for me in Suffolk? Yes, but not just Suffolk. We don't just serve Suffolk, we serve everybody. And sometimes they just come in and they come up to the window and say, can you help me? Yes, because that's our job. If we turn you away, I want to know, I want to follow you outside and find out why somebody told you no, because we're going to try to help you. And if we can't get you the help we need, we're going to call somebody to teach you. Okay? Our promise is simple. We're here to help you. You gave your life to the country. You gave your service and your years. It's the least we can do for you. Okay, next slide, please. Here are some of our people that are in the building right now. We have ARP tax aid. Again, they will do your taxes for free. No income limit, no age limit. Just come and get them done. Next slide, please. Actually, two. We have Coalition Against Poverty. They come and help barriers. They have a list of people who will help you with housing assistance, help with rent. Some of our veterans are displaced or homeless. They have night stay program. They have places of lodging. Next slide. One more, please. We offer GED classes Monday through Friday, from 9 to 12, completely free through our Student Center. We also offer Wednesdays and Fridays adult basic literacy and adult basic math. Because I don't know about y'all, I took algebra, but I'm a little bit rusty. If you ask me to do some things, I might need some help. Next slide, please. Suffolk Public Library provides a variety of resources. They even give out the hotspots. And they do the Wi-Fi together. Next slide, please. We work with redevelopment housing, and they talk with the housing choice vouchers, and they help with public housing at several of our area facilities. Next slide, please. One more. Thank you. We work with the Virginia Cooperative Extension. They come in and they talk to us about food and nutrition, how to be healthier, and they have plenty of information about local food banks so that we can provide food and resources. And that's something also at the center we have. We have a small food pantry. If you come in and you're hungry, we'll help you. If you need some vision answers, we have some of those too, completely free of charge. Next slide, please. And those are donated by the Lions Club. Another slide, please. We have the Virginia Employment Commission. Mr. Brown is brand new to the center, and I absolutely think he's fabulous. He's there to help veterans, and that's all he wants to do. So if you're not doing anything on Tuesday and want to come talk to him, he has so much knowledge. Just come talk to him. He can talk to you about jobs, talk about your service transcript. He can talk to you about any kind of issues within service connected, getting your old medals, anything along those lines. Next slide, please. Those are some of the services he provides. Next slide. And the wonderful Legal Aid Society, they're friends, we love them. Next slide, please. Now, I included this slide because I didn't know if you knew this. Did you know that there's toll relief? There's actually, if you make less than $50,000 a year, you can get half off every time you go through the Midtown or downtown tunnel. That's a wonderful resource. So I thought that would be interesting for you. Next slide, please. I said before, we work with the community college. They have a ton of education and credentialing that you can take. Again, they work through the G3 program, which is a program through the governor put out that will provide free education, free training, free books for you. Next slide, please. Those are two of the coaches that work through our center. Ms. Wolf works with the adults, and Mr. Jonathan works with anybody 16 and over. Next slide, please. HRSC, we talked about them being wonderful, wonderful employers who previously military, people with military records. Next slide, please. John's Brothers, and three more slides. And Top Guard Security, both of those agencies will hire for security guards. Next slide, please. They do paid training, unarmed and armed. They need tons of people in Smithfield Foods right now. If anybody lives in Isle of Wight County, they're looking for many people. Next slide, please. One more slide, please. So our vision is all about helping you. We make your vision the workforce connection in your future. We just want to help you and get what you need. So let's talk about what we offer just as a recap real quick. We have 2 workshops a week on career services. We offer 2 community health sessions per week. We offer GED classes, job readiness classes, resources with business and industry. We have adult basic education classes. That's the ones for basic literacy and or basic math. We offer credentials. We offer community partners and hire events monthly. And we also do typing tests for some of our employers, like typing the certified typing test. We do Excel proficiency. We do CLEP. So in case you think you could opt out of some college classes, we use CLEP. We're doing work keys, and not just work keys for you. If you have a child who is having trouble meeting those SOLs, did you know that you could take a work keys test and pass some of those SOLs? We offer the work keys test, and we offer it free. TCC Thomas Nelson and Paul Buchanan charge $35 a test. We do it for free. We are just here for you, so please come and see us. And thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions? Is there any questions? No?
Well, let's see. Sorry about the microphone.
It had a moment.
Yeah, if there's any questions, by all means, put them in the chat. And if you all have questions, I'd just like to say the first time I went over and Susan gave me a tour of the place, I was amazed at all the facility they have there, all the computers, the training capabilities they have. And I've talked to some folks lately, and a gentleman with Tech for Troops who was saying, if you are proficient in Excel and Microsoft PowerPoint, there's a lot of companies out there that want you. And they have that ability to, give you that training, Excel, those kind of things. So, don't let it, a lot of times we hear it and it's like, yeah, I'll get around to it. But get around to it. If you really need that, don't, they're the greatest. You go up there, you're going to get help.
On Mondays.
On Mondays. Right. Any other questions for the Staff Sergeant Fox program, for Virginia Legal Aid, for workforce development? And when they say workforce development, that's exactly what it is. They are literally offering ways to develop your skills to be part of the workforce. They have the things available right there to help you. They have employers that are basically ready to work with you. I think we have a question in the chat.
Yes. Can you tell me more about the visual readers for people who are visually impaired?
The question is, can you tell me more about the visual readers for people that are visually impaired? And Susan's going to answer that one.
Okay, so there's a couple different devices. If you don't want to come into the center, there is an extension on Google Chrome, completely free. And there are tons, and Microsoft Word, there are tons of YouTube videos on it. That's something you can get your hands on today. So let's say your child or you are reading and need to read some text. You can copy and paste your text into Word and then add the extension. And I wish I had a computer so I could show you how to do it, but if you call me, that's my number. I can walk you through it. You can add that extension from Microsoft Word, and it literally will read to you from your computer. In addition to that, at the center, we have these OCR readers, which again, you can get them anywhere from $50 all the way to $300. And they all do the same thing. So please don't think you have to buy a $300 piece of equipment. You buy your equipment, you install the software onto your computer, and as you're reading, or as you're beginning to read, you take your pen and you literally highlight the words, and sound will come out of your computer. And I didn't also say that we also have staff readers on site, so that if you have trouble reading, we have a lot of people who come into the center who may not have had the same computer experience as everyone else. So we literally sit there with you and help you do it. And we're also having a larger Hispanic population come in, and all the applications are in English. So we have a representative who will translate and can do the applications then. We also work with Primero Staffing, which is primarily a Hispanic staffing agency, and we try to give you job placement that will work best for you. I hope that answers your question. But if you have more, please, my phone number is there, my email, and I'm going to try to say it slow because it's a big one. It's SS for Susan and then Stubenrauch, TUBENRAUCH at SuffolkVA.us.
And another question for you.
Me? Oh.
Yes. I have a client with multiple felonies. How hard would it be to find him employment?
Not hard. And you know what? I believe that knowledge is power. And if you email me, I will email you my list of employers, because I'm not an information, I don't keep my information all in a little box. I like to share it because together we're all better, right? So I will send you my entire list. No?
And a thank you in all caps.
Oh.
Yeah.
I want to repeat the question on there so they hear.
So if you have a service member who is get out of the military but already for, is there other options for them to get their education paid for?
If the question was if they have an RE4, are there other opportunities for payment for education services? In my experience, and I came from the Virginia Community College system prior to this job. If you have, and this is not my workforce hat, this is my academic advisor hat, who worked there for 10 years. If you have an RE4 and they've denied the benefits and won't let you use that fund out of the money, there are like the G3 funds, there are workforce credential funds, which is called WCG. There's also the HR Strong money coming through. There's also other pots of money in just financial aid, period, that can help you. You can't tie into those GI Bill funds or the military service funds, but there are funds out there for you, as well as there's scholarships. And guys, I know there may be some parents on this call. Please apply for scholarships every single semester. Don't do it once and done. Apply for them in fall, spring, and summer. And a lot of times, a lot of folks don't know that there are funds. Everybody goes, oh, there's scholarships in fall and spring. There's also that leftover pot of money that they about sometimes for those summer scholarships. So go make best friends. There are three people you need to make best friends for: the secretary in admissions, the custodial crew, because they'll always watch out for you, and your financial aid advisor. Those are your three best friends when you're in college. And you had a question, sir?
No.
You have one?
No, matter of fact, yes.
Okay.
I know this course is veteran focused. Can other consumers get services?
Absolutely. We do not say no to anybody. I want to see all age, all ranges, all capabilities, from high school on up. Even we got some little middle schoolers that came in there the other day looking for some apprenticeships and some internships and some OJT on job training, and they wanted to just meet some people because they don't know what they want to be. So I called up some employers, and they're letting them come and just do an interview with them.
Okay.
Because we got to start them young, right?
Because I work with a traumatic brain injury population, but there are some that wants employment. And I've just been trying to find them resources. So you will see my face, ma'am,
Please.
along with the consumers. Appreciate it.
Air high five. Help other people. All right. Okay, thank you so much.
We still have a few minutes. We've got about 12 minutes. If anybody has questions, please put them in on the chat. Again, for the Staff Sergeant Fox program, for Virginia Legal Aid, and for workforce development. I just, again, wanted to put out some things about they help with veterans benefits. We also have people that help with veterans benefits, and we can get you over to a claims office and help you with those benefits. Also, if you have someone that needs to file a claim, please give us a call, and I'll put our phone number in the chat, and it's also on the Region 5 website, and it's also on Western Tidewater's Community Service Board website. But if you have somebody that's ready to put in a claim, please give us a call. We can find assets for them. We also, I have talked to people lately that have told me, and these are very reputable people from the benefits offices. It is a very lengthy process right now just to get a DD 214. So if you are having that trouble and you're wanting to file a claim, please give us a call. We do have ways of making sure we probably can't get your DD 214, but we have ways that we can contact people that can make sure your DD 214 is uploaded to your VA file. And that way, when you go in for your claim, it's in there. Another thing that I would like to point out is basically the DD 214s and the claims and the PACT Act that has been, got a lot of publicity towards the end of last year. The PACT Act and the Burn Pits Registry, you can go in the VA website and sign up for it. You can go into the Burn Pits Registry 360.org and sign up for that. We have a gentleman right now that he's on the verge of finally getting his claims that will probably be realized. He's been dealing with a brain cyst and other things for years now, and finally it's going to get realized. It wasn't service connected, so they said, and now because of the PACT Act, it is being recognized as service connected. And that's another thing I'd also like to point out, especially to folks that go into these TAP classes and go into, their transition assistance. They're getting out of the Navy, they're getting out of the Army, they're getting out, and they're like, you know what? I'm never going to need this. Trust me, as you get older, you probably will need it. And you will probably need to have a copy of your service record, a copy of your military record, and your DD 214. Make copies of those and get connected to the VA. Whether you use it or not, is your call. But you need to be connected to the VA, and you need to, in case you do need those services, in case there is something that, comes up as per something like the PACT Act. The PACT Act is something that is now where doors were closed just last year for a lot of veterans. They're open now. They are going to get their claims approved based on those, the recent PACT Act and that being approved. So we want to, make sure that information's out there. We know that there's a lot of veterans out there that have that same old grizzled veteran mentality. I got this. I don't need help. And if you know of veterans struggling, let us know. We all go through those where we think we got it. We think we're pushing on through. And, sometimes we all need a little help, and we get by with a little help from our friends, right? So, basically, let us know. If you know someone's struggling and you know that basically, they're just toughing it out, let us know. We want to help them. People that have served their country, and that goes for anybody, not just veterans, but anybody that, needs help. We have plenty of services here at Western Tidewater Community Service Board that can help in a lot of aspects. We have a brain injury rehabilitation service team, and they will definitely, they're doing a great job with two of our people right now. Any other questions on the chat? All right. Well, we greatly appreciate everybody being here, and just want to welcome back Mia Mercer. It's great to have you back, our education vocation specialist. Sylvester Artist, he's a lot more spry than I am as far as reacting coming over there to Suffolk. So a lot of Dr. Harris, thanks for your presentation. Charles, and our peer support specialist. Looks like we got a question.
One final question. Mm-hmm. Do you all do outreach to substance abuse treatment facilities that primarily provide services for vets?
We absolutely will do that, and we're also we're beginning to we're working up. We can't say we definitely have the ability to do substance abuse counseling within our agency and outside of our agency. We can also refer you to the VA also. Sometimes people want to go to the VA, sometimes they don't. But we can definitely refer you out, and we can refer you right here. We are planning to boost up our aspect and our ability in the SA area, substance abuse area, on the veteran team. And we've got a lot of things in the works right now, because we know, I joke about it a lot of times, that's the price we pay in the military for cheap booze and cheap cigarettes over the years. But there's a lot of truth to that. It's out there, and and now we basically have to. There's other issues that come along with military service that sometimes we can't fight those substance abuse problems without help. So we absolutely can do that. Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? Again, I'm not sure if I gave a kudos to our peer support specialists who were out helping this morning. And we got a couple of issues knocked out, and we've been helping a gentleman get his situation, and it's been tough. And Virginia Legal Aid has helped us out with that. There's been so many aspects to it, and we're starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel. A lot of these veterans issues and people's lives issues are not easy. They're complex and sometimes have to be unwound and figure out a way.
And just that same individual also mentioned that Safe Harbor on London Boulevard is full of vets. Also, the Farley Center has a large number of vets.
Safe Harbor and the Farley Center are two outstanding substance abuse places that I would highly recommend also. Yes, we have referred people out to them, and definitely a good point. Any other questions in the house or online?
Did you get out your contact information?
You know what? I don't have my contact information on there. I will go back and write it in the chat. It is on our Region 5 website. If you type in Region 5 on Google and our CSBs, I'll go back and type my contact information in the chat. No other questions? We appreciate everybody coming here, and please pass the word, these services, we've got folks here that are great community partners. We invited them because we knew how important it was to get the word out about their services. And, just sometimes that's all it takes, because somebody happened to mention it to somebody else. They got the help they needed. And, it's always good to be able to help somebody in need if you can. And I think Charles is typing in my contact out of right now. Again, the Staff Sergeant Fox program, we have a brochure. We'll put that. We've got another section on the Region 5 website that is also on the Staff Sergeant Fox program. So you can go through, surf through there, see some of our resources and contacts. You can contact us and talk with us through the Region 5 website. Give us suggestions on how we can improve the Region 5 website, resources that we can add. We've been working with the VA and working with their suicide prevention coordinators, working with their social workers, and they've been outstanding recently. Sometimes, starting up a program like this, you're kind of pulling your hair. You think you're not getting anywhere. You think you're behind the curve. And you talk to some other folks, and then you realize that, well, our folks over there at the Hampton VA are doing pretty good. They're contacting us. They're keeping us in the loop. They're getting us the information they need. And I highly recommend, and I know the feeling, when you get out of the military, you're young, especially the young guys. They do their 4-year career, and it's like, I'm not going to need this. I'll get my civilian health care. I'm never going back to a military facility again. Don't do that. There are things that you may need and you will want to take advantage of because you have those benefits. So definitely get signed up for your health care benefits. And, if you do have a health problem that reoccurs due to, just like the PACT Act, there are plenty of people who probably walked out of Desert Storm, out of all the service over in Iraqi Florida. And even it goes back to the Vietnam War, thinking that, I'm fine, I don't need any help. And, but now they do. And luckily the PACT Act has given them that help they need. So we're at the end of our time. If there's no more questions, greatly appreciate everybody being here and everybody that's online. And please be in touch and let us know if you need help, if anybody else needs help. We have a lot of resources to lean on, and we're ready to go.